last part. Here it is. My top 5 Undertaker matches. Now all these are going to be pretty emotional, and they all have some sort of significance to me. So here we go. Number 5 is The Undertaker versus Yokozuna, Royal Rumble 1994. Yes, this is the match I alluded to earlier when I talked about The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. So this match had a really good build-up. Great promos, great work by Paul Bearer coming up with a casket match concept and the whole building of the casket. All those promos were really fun to watch, especially when I was a kid. I even sometimes go back and watch them on YouTube. They're really good. And they really built up the whole Yokozuna being scared of caskets and how's he going to be able to be in a match against a guy who the whole thing is death, basically. Not to mention a Survivor Series, Yokozuna gave The Undertaker a bonsai drop and Undertaker sat up. It was really good build-up. And I thought, man, I can't wait. Undertaker's going to win this match. He's going to be the WWF at the time, WWF champion. And I was really looking forward to it. And then the match itself was pretty fun to watch at first. And then right when Undertaker was about to put Yokozuna in the casket and shut the lid, Crush comes out and interferes. And then Bam and Bigelow shows up. And then another person shows up, and then you had 10 other people showing up. I was like, what's going on here? And then there's me, like, as a kid, going, put them all in the casket, put them all in. I stood up, I jumped up, and I was just, put them all in the casket. And, of course, he ended up losing the match. But after they put him in the casket, all 11 of them put him in the casket, and then they pushed the casket away, you had Undertaker show up on the screen and do a really cool thing of "Be Not Proud" and then just ascending into the heavens, basically promising to never rest in peace. And it was really cool, and it was a really cool way to send off the Undertaker and make us wonder when he was going to come back. I really liked that. It was a fun match, and it really got to me. I was just waiting for Undertaker to be able to win the championship, and then when all this interference happened, I was like, oh! But I was a kid. It was looking back, it was fun to watch. It's fun to watch. Number 4 on my list is the end of an era. Yeah, end of an era. WrestleMania 28 versus Triple H. Now this match again had a year basically of hype because after the match at WrestleMania 27 where Undertaker won, but he couldn't walk afterwards. He had to be carried to the back. When he came back after the Royal Rumble that year, it was a really interesting way that they brought him back, and then Triple H not wanting to face him at WrestleMania, but then Undertaker basically goading him into the match, and then having Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee, not to mention inside Hell in a Cell. It was a really cool way to end the era with these two wrestlers, and I enjoyed the match a lot, and it's really cool to see, especially the ending when it's all over and you see the three of them just having a moment together, and that sort of thing was really interesting to me. Sorry about that. It was really interesting to me because you can tell that they felt that it wasn't. Well, let me say that again. You could tell that it wasn't those 3 characters. It wasn't the 3 wrestlers. It was the 3 men behind the wrestlers. The 3 men behind the characters. Just having a moment together. And it was really cool to see. I mean, you could tell. I think you could see some people in the audience crying too. It was really emotional. I thought, man, that's it. I guess that's it. And I think I said before, if that had been the last match of The Undertaker and Triple H, that would have been the perfect spot to have it, I think. Now, we wouldn't have the unthinkable happening, but the less said about that, the better. But it was a really cool ending, and I thought that would have been the perfect way to end both Undertaker and Triple H's career. But it's not happened. Number 3 on my list is Undertaker versus Mankind, King of the Ring, 1998, inside Hell in a Cell. Again, this is the match that kind of solidifies the Attitude Era and it personifies the Attitude Era as just being brutal, violent and sadistic, because when you watch that match, watch it again, and you'll just hear so much cheering for basically someone almost dying. This match made Mick Foley's career by almost ending his life. Think about it. That first scene where the Undertaker throws Mick Foley, or Mankind, let's go with this character because he had like 4 of them. When he throws Mankind off the cell, if he had misjudged the distance and gone a little bit further or a little bit shallow, he could have died. Really, he could have died in that move. Not to mention when Mankind gets chokeslammed through the cell. Everybody, and Mick Foley has admitted in other interviews, yeah, when I was chokeslammed, I did not expect the grate to just collapse underneath me and fall through the cell, hit the ring with the steel chair, hitting him on the way down. Think about that steel chair could have, fallen quickly and just taken his eye out and possibly killed him. And then he still competed another like 15 minutes into that match. And it was just insane. And hear the crowd just showing what a bunch of sadists we are. Because I'll admit, when I first watched it, I was the same way too. I was screaming for joy at the carnage that was happening in front of me. And it's one of those matches that solidifies the era, and it's one of those things that basically has never been forgotten. I know I didn't talk about it in my Undertaker retrospective because at the time I was like, what else can I really say? But I might as well say this little bit about it now. Really interesting to look back and see that match now and see how Mick Foley is now. It's kind of weird. Like, yeah, you can tell he put his body through hell just to entertain us. Same with The Undertaker. Speaking of The Undertaker, let's back to my final 2 matches. Now, you probably already know what they are. Probably already guessed. Yes, they are both the same guy, the same venue, or the same pay-per-view, just 1 year apart. Yes, it's The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25 and WrestleMania 26. But which one is my number 1? Which is my number 1? Here it is. My number 1 match is The Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26. Yes. WrestleMania 26 is the one where I put just a little bit ahead of 25. Why? Like I said, it's all about the emotion and how you feel about the match, not just the match itself. Both matches are really good. They're a lot of fun to watch. The only thing that brings WrestleMania 25 just a little bit downward from 26 is that kind of, I guess you call it, creepy or scary moment where Undertaker dives over the top and nobody's there to catch him, and he just just plants himself into the ground. It's like, oh, I hope he's okay. But what's weird is that they actually worked that into the match, where Shawn Michaels basically begging for the referee just to count him out and willing to take the count of victory. And then they use that again a year later, at WrestleMania 26, when they say, okay, last year I was willing to take any sort of victory, whether pinfall, submission, count out, or disqualification. Not this year. The only way this will end is by a pinfall or submission. That worked very well. And they worked that moment into both of those matches, and it was so good to watch. Both of them are. But I had to choose one, and it's 26 because of the added fact of streak versus career. This is one of the things. My brothers and I were watching this, where we were debating back and forth, like, what's going to happen? Will they have Shawn Michaels defeat The Undertaker? Will the streak end? Will Shawn Michaels' career end? What are we going to see here? And we were going back and forth, trying to figure out what was going to happen. And it was great is we didn't know. That's what's great, when you go into the match not knowing what's going to happen. And so when we watched it live, and then this ending sequence with Shawn Michaels just laid out, and then Undertaker pausing as he's doing the throat slash, and just showing mercy to Shawn Michaels, saying, stay down. And then it was great moment because defiant. He was just, Shawn Michaels was just defiant, just doing the throat slash himself and slapping the Undertaker right across the face. The Undertaker just picks him up and jumping tombstones him for the third time. 1, 2, 3, it's over. And then the three of us just stunned. We've just been taking on this emotional roller coaster, and I was like, oh, it's over. I can't believe it's over. And then you see some of the people in the crowd, they're crying. They're crying because Shawn Michaels' career is over. And you see the Undertaker celebrating, and then he picks up Shawn Michaels, and they have a moment in the ring, a handshake and a hug, and then Shawn Michaels just left there to say thank you to the crowd one last time before he heads to the back and does his retirement speech the next night on Raw. And what's great about it is the fact that Shawn Michaels has stayed retired. He never wrestled after that match, so that was a true retirement match. And it still holds so much value because of Shawn Michaels, because he never wrestled again. And I gotta say, if, gun to my head, and they say, once The Undertaker retires, you can only watch one Undertaker match for the rest of your life. What is it? It's WrestleMania 26 versus Shawn Michaels. From the opening promo that they had, which was beautiful, all the way to the end where Shawn Michaels is going through the crowd, going up the ramp and saying goodbye to everybody. Yeah, that's the match I want. It's a beautiful match and it was set up spectacularly. So, those are my favorite Undertaker matches. What do you think? What's your favorite Undertaker match? What's the match that, like I said, gun to your head? Is that you can only have one Undertaker match for the rest of your life after he retires. What is it? I'm curious. Just let me know. Alright, that's all I got for now. I have some other stuff coming up later, but for now, thank you to The Undertaker for 25 years of great matches.